Hi everyone, and welcome to SWPL My Story. And today I'm delighted to introduce to you Kate Cooper, the manager of St Mirren. How are you, Kate?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great, thanks, and thanks for joining us today. So we've actually got a lot to talk about, both on and off the field, of everything that's been going on at St Mirren. So I think we'll start with the on-field stuff. So you are sitting there mid-table at the moment in League One. How have you found the season so far?
Yeah, I think to be fair, it's probably been quite mixed for us. I think sometimes we've um, not so much underperformed, but I think the league is very, very competitive, and you know that. I think for us is that because we're constantly transitioning just now, so that's us now got our full pathway through to the under 18s, and we launched our under 18s this season as well. So it's always that constant transition for us in terms of players. So we did start off with a larger squad, which we've reduced down quite considerably, and now we're recruiting again, like most of the teams in the league, is we just try and find newer players to look at where we want to go and what our ambitions are. So yeah, it's been a wee bit of a mixed season. I would have to say that a lot of times is sometimes we're playing some really good football, and sometimes it's just the consistency that we really need to get. But in League One, there's lots of good teams in there, and a lot of the teams that came up from the SWFL, like Forfar and Bonnyrigg Rose, and these clubs have come up. They're well-established clubs with their pathways, so they're competing really well in the league. So for us, it's just a case of us just keeping going. We know where we want to go. We know what we want to do, and it's just continuing to develop that. And definitely now with the 18s is so a big change for us at the club, and probably over the next year to 2 years, that will really create that group of players that can keep coming through for us. So we're not always trying to patch up the women's team with players. So we've got a good core group there at the club now, and it's just keeping working with them and then bringing the youth through as well. So the game there against Giffnock at the weekend there, we finished with some of the academy players just to give them a taste of playing in the Women's League. And I think we finished that game with three 15-year-olds and two 16-year-olds. And one of our 16-year-olds, Eloise Smith, get kind of nominated as player of the match because she did so well. So there's a good bit of talent there. And I think all of the clubs have that. I don't think that's unique to us. I think it's really, really great to see women and girls football and the talent that's coming through the teams and the investment that we're making in players.
No, I think obviously we were speaking off camera there when we last spoke. It was just going into the season at the pre-season stage, and it's a project at St Mirren. It's not about instant success. Obviously, that'd be fantastic, but this is a long-term project to solidify the club and create the right environment for developing players. And now that you have introduced your 18s and you've got that pathway there, it seems like you are well on your way to that.
Yeah, and I think that's important. I think sometimes I mean, St Mirren as a club, as in the women and girls, like, I mean, obviously the men's club's been around since 1877, so it's really well established. But the women and girls, it's always and it is a long-term project. It's about creating something that's really sustainable, but also investing the real local talent that we've got, and but also for us is really developing links. So actually, over the kind of a break there, we've started to talk to a lot of clubs round about us to talk about how do we really work together to actually develop the players in the area rather than it being they're my players, my team, and we're competing. It's like how can we move players around and how can we make sure they're going into programs that develop them as people and develop them as individuals and but also develop them as footballers. So yeah, we've always been really clear on that. So for us, sometimes people see the results and it's not that we don't stress about them. At the end of the day, we know where we'll be in 10 years' time or in 15 years' time. It's that kind of a longevity, and the people who are on board with us, in terms of the board and the coaches and everybody round about us, understand that it's not a quick hit. We're not looking for that. We want to create the real culture off the pitch so that what we are providing is quality for players, and then I think ultimately that will start to attract players for us when they get to know what we're doing. I think probably that's something that we're not kind of quite good at just now is probably telling people everything we actually do
Yeah.
for players. So that's probably something we actually spoke about yesterday on the back of an app sports app that we're launching um, with a company called Podum. That actually we need to get better at telling what we've got in order to attract players that will suit where we want to go. So, but we've really invested in trying to develop that youth pathway as well. So it's exciting times for us. But it's like everything, you've just got to get up every day, and it's just a daily grind, as most of us know. We sometimes you don't feel you're making any progress, and then like 3 months down the line, you turn around and go, look how far we've come, because it's just small stuff. So you've just got to keep chipping away, and then suddenly you get a good bit of distance covered, and then you feel like you chip away for months and months again, and then you get another good bit of distance covered. So, but we're quite clear, and also as well, we're quite clear with the club. The club have got a really clear strategy, which was launched by Keith Lasley and the team there, where they're really quite clear in what we're doing in the community. It's about Paisley, it's about people, and it's about performance. So the three P's. So for us, it's really good, even as the women's and girls programme, to have where we know where the club strategy is. Where they're quite clear in what they want to do, which is become the best community club in Scotland. So it gives us something to really tap in with the women and girls side to say, actually, we can become the best community club for the whole, and we can play our part in that and what the club delivers to its local community. So it's exciting times for them.
So as you've just mentioned there, it's a lot of the stuff that you are doing is community based. It's not just about the starting 11 first team, it's throughout the pathway and then the wider community. Something that you've just returned from was away with the St Mirren Charitable Foundation, representing them on your Arctic trek. Now, I seen it coming through. I'd known that you were going to do it, but obviously Twitter's been bombarded in the last few days with it, and we could see your progress, and it looked an unbelievable experience, really tough experience, but something really, really worthwhile. So, could you just tell us a little bit about that, what it entailed, what the aim of it was?
Yeah, so we've always understood that we want to be part of the club, and we do lots of stuff with them. So I think the foundation, I mean, the phenomenon's got about 22, 25 projects. Again, not a lot of people know all of the stuff that we do, but definitely what they do for the local community, and what they provide to the local community, from the from fit and fed programs, which is about getting kids and making sure they're active and getting fed. It's like the Monday nights where we do we some of the local elderly residents, where they come in and we feed them old fashioned meals like mince and tatties and all that sort of stuff, and we do that. But part of that trek for the foundation was to raise funds to provide this type of facility, which is really targeting and looking at helping vulnerable, isolated, lonely people in the community. Because our communities are still recovering, some to some degree, from COVID and some of the isolation that came from that. But for me, it was twofold, really. One, I think that we should always challenge ourselves to do big things, because actually it's a test, and you get to know so much about yourself, as well as um, doing doing the good, which was to go on the trek. And it was probably the toughest thing I've ever done in my life. I'm going to say that it was. And I think you go out there, and Gail, who's the chief executive of the foundation, I just have a habit, and she'll just come and ask me stuff, and I'll go, yeah, yeah, that's fine. I don't think I actually sometimes really think about what she talks me into. But yeah, we went out there. There was three of us went out. It was quite short notice for us in terms of the actual trek. There were some people had came out of it. Everybody was doing stuff for charity, so there was a variety of charity there. There was about 14 of us, and it was run by a company called Break and Strain, who's actually based up in Edinburgh, and it's like four firefighters, and he's retired now. So, but they were absolutely amazing in looking after us and just making sure all our equipment was good, and I think sometimes you underestimate what you are actually capable of doing. So I'm not going to lie, I'm not one of these people that's like my body's a temple, and I'm like going to look at completely being fit, and but I have a good reasonable fitness level, and I think I went out there. But really, for me, when you're training, I don't think we could train for the conditions. The weather conditions were quite difficult, so underfoot for us was really, really tough. So the best way I can describe it was like, walking through really, really soft sand for 65k, pulling a 25k sledge behind you. So it was just the relentlessness of it over 3 days. So we did 28k in one day, 22k, and then 15 and a half on the third day. But yeah, it's you set out and everybody's full of gusto, and it's really, day two was a really, really tough day. The underfoot conditions were really tough. And I think in the morning, I think we covered 6K in 4 hours. I think we all could have great when we did the stop. Like it was like, no way, is that all we've covered? I don't know if I can. Um, but it's good being around a group of people who challenge you to be better and challenge yourself to do so much more. And I think for me, it was going out there, it was 3 days, and you are on your own quite a bit because of the distances, because it's all small pathways through these really, really, the snow's so deep on either side of you, you're just on this small trail and you're really in your own, yourself for the days. And sometimes it's just getting that head down and just that one foot in front of the other, which is really a lot of what we do in football, particularly women and girls football. A lot of times we've got so many challenges all the time that it requires, I think people underestimate how resilient the people, the volunteers in women and girls football are, because we don't get an easy path a lot of the times in the achievements, and you see where clubs get to, and even ourselves and all the clubs local to us, it is that real putting one foot in front of the other day in, day out, and that's how it really felt for me. Was just a kind of almost a direct correlation to what we're doing with the football and with the teams. Is that it isn't always easy, and it isn't always easy underfoot, and we've always got baggage we're carrying with us every day when it comes to the game, and how it's just about getting up and keeping going. But I met an amazing group of people, lots of them real leaders in their industries, and I thought that was quite interesting for me, was going and spending time with people who, on the face of it, you would say are leading really large companies, managing directors, and you think they've got it, and yet they're going out and still challenging themselves to do more and be better, and to really try and see how far they can push themselves, because it just takes you to the next step. So I think sometimes when I come back now and folk come and say to me about this issues, I go, nah, it feels nothing to being in -28 in the middle of nowhere, pulling a sledge across a surface that you can hardly walk. But it was absolutely stunning. I think the biggest thing I'll take from it was the silence, real genuine silence, quietness. 3 days without somebody phoning me, no social, and just the scenery and stuff like that. It was just absolutely stunning. And then for us to finish on the last day and get over the line. But it was really funny because we stop at this big ice hotel, and I think most of us just wanted a hot chocolate and a seat. And it's a real luxury hotel, and we all walked in having not really been able to wash and shower for like 3 days because we're sleeping out overnight in small tents. So when you're going in and it's like 5-star hotel, and we're all walking in after 3 days out in the wilderness. So it was good, but it's some amazing people, and probably it's really interesting when you do stuff like that, is how quick you can relate to people, because it's a really tough experience that you've got. So it was absolutely fantastic to see that.
That's amazing. Do you have an idea yet on what's just happened? Is there a final figure? Is there a running figure
So I
for how
think we're
much it's
about,
raised?
because we'd only about 5 weeks notice, so we're currently about three and a half, nearly £4,000. So if we go over the £5,000, we'll be more than happy with that, because there's three of us. So, but I think we're already talking about Kilimanjaro. So if anybody's interested, then get in touch. We'll be happy to go there next. I think is our next trip.
Brilliant. So just to go back to the team in the club in the women's section. So when we met at the start of the season, there was lots of plans, lots of ideas that were just about to get implemented or had just been. So if you just tell us a little bit about how you are trying to professionalise how St Mirren's women and girls section is run and everything that you're doing to try and support the players.
Yes, I think there's across the pathway. We've really been working hard on the pathway, and now seeing that bit of a fruition there. And obviously as well, one of the big things we've done is try and professionalise the coaching side of it a wee bit as well. So that's really taken, and now we're going to be linking in with. I'm going up to see Alan McManus this week, and now we're going to do some CPD with the actual boys' academy, so that the coaches are actually coming together, because we want the under 16s coach at the girls level to know the under 16 coaches at the boys level, and the 14s and the 18s, because we actually have quite similar issues in terms of that retention and keeping players and how we develop them. So just sometimes it's a wee bit different there. And then we had the big launch yesterday with a company called Podium, who have a sports injury. They've invested £40 million in an actual project to come out across which is involving an app and recording injury and sports injuries. But particularly, they really want to target more of the grassroots rather than just the elite programme. So we're the first club, professional club, as in St Mirren, to take it on, and it'll be specifically for women and girls. And the reason for that is it's under-resourced and under-researched. So it means that all of our players are going to be through an app, recording all injuries. We're hoping to get the schools to tie into it as well. And then it means that the staff on the other side, the medical staff, etc., can track a player's injuries. When are they getting injured? How are they getting injured? And why? And is it things that we're doing? Are we creating the situation for players to get injured? And then on top of that, we're also working over and above that with a wee bit. It's Maria Anderson, who is a hormones expert. She recently did our menopause goals with the foundation as well, along with the Scottish FA, which was a really, really successful programme. So really getting in and talking to girls about how they're managing all of that, and how that relates to being a footballer. Along with we've got a performance coach coming in, Vicky Hunter, who comes from a real clinical background as well, and along with Paula Eason, who's a sports scientist. With a wee bit of a difference, she tends to be a wee bit out there and really looking at what's the next cutting edge that's coming in. So I think for our players, it's something really different. It's about really looking after them. It's about the long-term welfare of them. But actually, how do we develop them as both people and as players? So we really think by investing in them as individuals, then we'll help create better players. And again, that just is a longer term strategy for us, but it was really well received last night. And the whole idea is that if we can really work at it, then we want to be able to, along with Podium and Sports Marts, the app, is really try and get out to as many grassroots clubs across the country. So it's not about keeping the information, it's about let's get it out there, let's get it shared, let's get a system that allows people to come in and get involved with it, and actually it'll be free to the clubs, which is something completely normally that doesn't happen. So we were really excited about that yesterday and getting involved, and so yes, I think there'll be more to come from that. But for us, we really want clubs and to share resources. So if we can work out how you get on and how easy it is to do it and make it all happen, it then means that for Sports Smart and for Podium Analytics, who are really working with Oxford University for all the research on it and what comes back from it. If we can almost like test pilot, and then it makes it easy for clubs to understand how to get involved with it. But the whole programme is really to take it out into grassroots football. For both boys and girls, it's not just for girls, but we've just decided that for us at the moment, the connection is that we're really going to try and invest in the women girls side to do that, which I think's changing for the players. If you speak about some of the older players in football, they'll talk about all the years they've nursed injuries, just these wee niggles, just nursing everything all the time. And then for us, we've had a couple of ACL injuries at the younger age groups. We've had a couple of fractures and things like that. So it's like really seeing how do we keep them in football and playing longer, and actually that they get good treatment and they get looked after. So I think it's just as important for girls to get that sort of a commitment and treatment as much as it is in the boys' side. So I think it's a bit of a game changer for them. And maybe a feeling that we're really investing in players and their welfare. So yeah, we're quite excited about that as well.
That's brilliant, Kate. And as always, it's always great to speak to you. I love hearing what's going on at all the clubs and how much time and investment is getting put into it. It's always inspiring hearing the stuff that you're doing. But thanks so much for coming on with us today.
All right, thanks very much. You take care. Thank you. Bye bye.
And thanks everyone for joining us on SWPL My Story.